Okay. Yep. We're live. And might take a little while for people to start coming in, but we have a chat here and we're live on the Living Miracles YouTube channel, A Course in Miracles and David Hoffmeister Facebook group, and also the Course in Miracles Facebook group, all at the same time. And we'll be able to see all of your comments in one chat box, and I think I can even put them on the screen when you comment. So yeah, I think it'll take a little bit of time for people to come in, but we can even start introducing ourselves. I'm Andy, and this is Ken, and we live in the Living Miracles community here in Chapala, Mexico, and we just felt really inspired to, hi Eve, to do a, let me see if I can get your comment on the screen.
I've got smiley face.
Yeah.
Prayer hands. We're very far away from the screen, so.
Yeah. And we just felt really inspired to just do, just have a conversation with you guys and just talk about the dream or the dream. It's like an inspiring theme for both of us right now. And yeah, we're just using this software here to put your comments on the screen so we can just interact with you. And oh, here we go. This is it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a comment on the screen. I hope everyone can see that. So yeah, it's all brand new to us, but it just feels really inspiring just to have this conversation with you.
Well, Andy's very excited because this is the first time he's using all this technology, and now we can actually interact with you at the same time. So this is groundbreaking for us, isn't it?
Like, hi Liz. Hi from
Liz.
Scotland.
Hello Liz from Scotland.
Then,
unknown, good to see you. Good to see you, unknown.
Good to see you too. Yeah, it's just really fun. And we've just been talking about, oh, there's Ugo.
Ugo.
Hey Ugo.
See you at the March retreat. Looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks again. Yes, it's only 2 weeks. In sunny Mexico. Hi unknown.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think even the software might not recognize some of the, maybe it's from the group, but yeah, I just felt just even this topic of inspiration. Jose, hi Jose. And we were just sitting here at lunch yesterday, and we just had this group discussion. And Peter, he's kind of like over the house. He just got really lit up all of a sudden, and he just had this talk with us. And he's like, "Yeah, I just really want to feel inspired." And then he just kept going and just sharing really how he felt, and he just like lit up. It was like a resurrection. Yeah, he just said, "Yeah," and I feel like right now I just came out of this coma, and I feel like I'm alive, and I just want to keep going. And ever since then, it's like something happened in the mind, and it just feels like, yeah, let's really like focus on this inspiration. Like I just woke up this morning and I just felt that inspiration in my mind, and I just thought about like really just holding that purpose like so strongly, like only focus on the inspiration, and that's it. And I just felt so inspired to do this live with Ken about the dream of the dream, that topic and that theme, and just to have a conversation with you guys and Facebook and YouTube and everywhere.
So you can ask any questions as well. That's the beautiful thing about this. So we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. And Facebook all at the same time. Yeah,
so feel free during this conversation, Ken and I will just have this conversation, and then you guys can just chip in, ask your questions, share how you feel. We'll put it up on the screen. And then we can just have a conversation with you guys. But it feels like that's what it is. It's like conversations. Like even yesterday, I came and I got my food, and you were sitting out there and eating and looking at the beautiful sunset. And are we still online? Yeah, we are. Okay, good. And you were just sitting out there, and I felt, let me go join with Ken. I just feel this dream of the dream theme in my mind, and let's talk about that. So I just went out there, and we started talking, and I had felt like, this theme of judgments. You were talking about how you felt inspired by judgments, and I was like, yeah, that really feels like this theme in the mind, and not taking them so seriously, and just like that release of judgment. So I don't know if you even wanted to share a little bit about what you shared with me yesterday.
Yeah, well, I think we've got this theme running through the house of the dream of the dream. And so that's been on my mind. It's been something that I've been sitting with. And I like to keep things very simple, as Jesus teaches in A Course in Miracles, that it's actually very, very simple. So some of the lessons and some of the teachings can seem quite abstract or not understandable. And so I read through these things, and then I ask, okay, what is it that you want me to look at? What really is this dream of the dream? How can I apply that to this seeming life? And all he said to me was judgments. It's the relinquishment of judgments. And I thought, wow, that's great, that's simple. That's all I needed. It's just judgments. And I thought, great. What about if I dedicate my time to just relinquishing all of the judgments that I have? That's all I can do. I cannot wake myself. I need to allow myself to be awakened. And so I just have to look at is what is in the way. So I can't get into this beautiful state. This state is what I am, and I have to remember. I'm just going to remember that state. But in the meantime, I have blocks to this love's awareness, the block to the true self. And so that's the only thing that I can consistently look at. And so, of course, the ultimate thing is to look at, what are you judging? Are you perceiving somebody talking to you right now? Or are you seeing the sameness within everything? And so that's been one of the other themes that have come into my mind. And particularly as I've been reading A Course in Miracles, it's like teaching us about the sameness. And our problem is if you're seeing with the ego, you're consistently seeing an error which is outside of your mind and that is separate from you. There are separate people, there are separate issues. We're in a studio, and the amount of things that go wrong in this studio, lighting, we try and get everything right. But if I see the studio as outside of my mind, then I'm trying to control something. I'm trying to control this world to suit my needs. And it's like, are we live? Are we not live? Who cares? I am live, and I'm here and now, and I'm only doing this for myself. I can only do this for my own connection, and whatever happens within that connection is going to happen. I cannot control that. I cannot judge the outcome of anything that I'm doing here and now. I can't even judge what I'm saying. And that is the whole point, and that's what I've just been seeing. It's like the ego wants to always go back over what's been said or what hasn't been said. Was that right? Was that wrong? Should I have said it? Shouldn't I have said that? Was my behaviour correct? Was my behaviour wrong? Was the environment right? Was it too warm? Was it too cold? Did we get the lighting right? Did we get the lighting wrong? And it's just forever trying to make something in the world. And it's just the connection in the mind that is the most important thing. And that's what I've been really coming to, is through this. It's like, okay, I have judgments, and so therefore I don't have to judge that I've got judgments. They're simply just thoughts in my own mind that I can really just let go of, because I actually don't want them. And I think that is the most important thing. I think it's this willingness to not want to have the judgments. That's really all it is. It's like, it's horrible when you think that those judgments are actually you. And so that's what the ego wants you to believe, that it's actually you, that you are this terrible person for thinking these terrible things, these terrible judgments. And really, he's just saying, they are only judgments. You're only ever judging yourself. You can't even judge anyone else. You can't judge anything else. It's impossible. But yet you believe it. So just your willingness to say, okay, you are teaching me that this is just a pure judgment. So therefore, I just want to completely and utterly give it over with everything that I have. And what I'm seeing is they just disappear. And what I thought I was seeing was not seeing at all. And that's what he teaches from the beginning of the book. And so really the dreamer of the dream is the first lessons in A Course in Miracles. Nothing I see means anything. You cannot be the dreamer of the dream if you think you're actually seeing anything. What you're seeing is misperception of your own self. And so what I've been seeing is like, okay, great. So if I let go of all these judgments, then what happens? And he said, well, you will end up seeing the sameness in everything. So really your task is just to see the sameness. And whenever you see something that's seemingly outside of you, it's like you want to just completely and utterly bring it back and say, no, I want to see the sameness in everything. I want to take it all back into my own mind to see it as non-duality, as completely and utterly one, and reveal that oneness to ourselves. So that seems like a start, and we've got a question.
Yeah, we have a question. I couldn't read it on the chat box. I put it on the screen, so I'm just going to read the question. It says, the dreamer of the dream, cool. How do you do to be aware that, as Jesus says, you think that you think? There's only one big mind, and my mind is only thoughts. How to be aware all day about it. Thank you. And yeah, I think my experience today has just been really like, what do you focus on? Like, what are you really focusing on all day? And it's like a choice of purpose. It's not really a choice of what to do, but it's like a choice of, am I going to focus on the errors and the judgments, or am I going to focus on my inspiration? Like, just for me, I woke up this morning and I had this inspiration to do this live with Ken. And I don't know, it's just burning in my mind. And I felt like that seems to be it's like I just felt like I just want to focus on that purpose of inspiration all throughout the day, like no matter what. And it's like the one right use of judgment is, how do I feel? So it's like, okay, if at any point I don't feel that great, then it's like, okay, that's the only right use of judgment. How do I feel right now? But then it's like, but let me focus on my purpose, that inspiration, and then see what do I feel from there. Like, does this feel uplifting right now? And then moving from that purpose only. Like, that's where the choice is, with that purpose. So even like, no matter what I seem to be doing, it's like, okay, does this feel uplifting to my mind right now? And it's like, that's the only question. And then it's like, okay, if not, okay, great. So my purpose is this inspiration. What do I really feel right now? And I feel like changing that focus really keeps the mind on the right thing, like all day, instead of on these errors. You know, it's like the New Year's resolution for this year, like, Holy Spirit, help me see no error. It's like, I feel like that's the way out, like by focusing on this purpose of inspiration rather than focusing on all the whatever the other things.
And the thing is errors are going to come up. That's the beautiful thing. But again, it comes back to the judgment. It comes back to not judging. So it's like in the question, you think that you think there is only one big mind, and my mind is only thoughts. How to be aware all day about this? Well, that's the whole point, is they are just only thoughts. Like, even me, seeming me, is just one big thought. Everything is all thoughts, whether you seemingly see them in your mind or whether they are generated in a world of objects. The objects are still only ever thoughts in my own mind. And so really the answer is, cool, the dreamer of the dream, how do we get there? Well, if I knew that, if I had that answer, I would love to share with you, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, because I cannot judge. If I think that I have an answer to that question, then I'm still believing in a self that has an answer about something, and I can't possibly answer that in this tiny self. The real self will answer it, And through me just noticing my thoughts all day long, you know, good things, bad things. I mean, that's always the start of it. I believe that this behaviour that I do is good, and I believe this behaviour is bad. And it's like, well, where is that coming from? If you believe in good, you believe in bad, and therefore there's that split in your mind that is then generating what you are supposed to be like in any given moment. But as Jesus says, you don't even know who you are, so how can you judge that? So it's not acting on anything, it's just letting go of them and just, okay, I don't know. That is really, in a way, the dream of the dreams prayer is, I think, I don't know. It's like that child. You have to come as that child that, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know whether this is right or wrong. But all I can be I have to be willing to be wrong. I have to be willing to be wrong about absolutely everything, and just see them for judgments as what they are, and know that what the truth will come to me. The truth, I trust that the truth will come to me, and so I'm just going to allow whatever my mind wants to do in every day. It's like in the section, The Hero, the Dream, he says, let all that hatred come, let all that anger, let all of those feelings come. Don't be frightened of anything that's only in your mind. It's simply just to scare you off of this path, basically. That's the ego game. And just look at it for what it is, rather than your interpretation of it. If someone comes, for instance, here's a good scenario, someone's angry at you, then you think, oh God, this is not good. I've obviously done something wrong. And then we look at it as if an error is inside of you. But you have done nothing wrong. It's just the movie screen that's coming towards you, and it's seemingly in anger. And then all I've got to do is look at my judgments. Okay, I believe I did something wrong. I'm going to let that go. Okay, I believe I now don't like this person because they've told me off. Okay, I'm going to let that go. And just consistently let go of all the judgments around the scenario that seem to play itself out.
So we have another question.
Oh, wow.
Let's put it on the screen.
Yeah.
From Betty Lee. Great. Thanks, brothers in Christ. This reminds me to let go of the level confusion and dispels the guilt. No judgment of behavior. No hierarchy and illusions. Feeling blessed.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Betty.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's it. It's like these thoughts are images that I have made. That's just the beautiful thing. These are just images that I have made. So I have made it, and that's why I have the power to dispel it. That's what I just love about this, is I am not powerless. We talked about that, didn't we? It was a victim story. It's that victim story. The whole world is I'm a victim. That's really what the whole world is. It's that massive victim story. Did you want to share about that for you?
Yeah, the movie Waking Life comes to mind. You know, we watched that here recently, and it's like a dream of the dream kind of movie. And it's so surreal and dreamlike with all the visuals and everything. And it's a lot of conversations. It's just like this, you know. It's like there's like this dream character, the hero of the dream. And he's just having these conversations trying to basically figure out his life with different ones. And they're all having these conversations. And it's almost like the camera is at this viewpoint where you feel like you're the dreamer of the dream in the movie because you're seeing it from this other perspective. And then there's the hero of the dream. So it's like you're the observer in the movie, just watching the conversations. And then even that other day we were just sitting out there and you brought that up. You're like, I'm just a character. And that movie came to mind, and then I felt like, whoa, dream of the dream. It's surreal. And yeah, that movie just really came to my mind. And yeah, with the victim, I don't know, it feels like the purpose again. It's almost like when you don't hold that purpose really strong, like that desire, like what is it that I really want? And that purpose of inspiration, I want to feel alive. I want to feel that purpose of inspiration in my life. I don't want to feel dead anymore, like Groundhog Day, the same kind of day over and over and over and over. If you guys have seen that movie Groundhog Day, it's just a really beautiful movie. He just wakes up over and over. He's just dead every day, over and over, like as a state of mind, is death. And he tries to do everything. He tries to, I don't know, he does everything of the world. He has sex, he has the money. Yeah, he just tries all these things, and he even tries killing himself in the end. He kills himself over and over and over and over. And the death didn't work, it didn't work. What worked after the death is the inspiration, the purpose, holding that purpose of inspiration so strongly in his mind that was the only thing he was focusing on. And from there, it's like his behavior just went from there. But it's like he was just lit up from there. He just went around. All he wanted to do was be helpful, like follow that inspiration. Like he was inspired to play piano, so he did it. Why not? What's wrong with playing the piano? I feel like we have all these judgments on like what's right and what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. Like eating a Snickers bar is bad, but eating organic food is good. It's like these are all just judgments. None of them are true. And that's what, it's like that's all he did in that movie, in Groundhog Day. He just followed his inspiration, conversations with different ones. He was just going around in restaurants. Someone's choking, he goes from behind, he just helps him with that. And just because he felt inspired by that interaction, just by that connection, that interaction. And that's what I feel so inspired by even here, like interacting with you guys, putting these comments on the screen, it's just really beautiful. And I feel like that's what's so important in our lives. Like we have to hold this life in our mind so strongly, like it's a passion. Like you have to hold this passion of Christ, like this passion in your mind, the life, so strong that there's nothing else that you want, and you have to only focus on that purely in your mind and nothing else. You cannot look anywhere else. Don't look there. It's like, don't look there. Don't look there. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. Don't look there. It's like Jesus is just saying, like, look at me. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Only look at me. Don't look anywhere else. It's like the shack. He's standing on the water looking at the main character, and he's just saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Don't look anywhere else. Don't look at the air. It's like all the water is turning black. It's like, nope, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's just all these beautiful comments. And that's what feels so important for me. That like the New Year's resolution of Holy Spirit, help me see no error. It's like, that's it. It's like, only look at me, like look at Jesus. Only focus on that light in your mind.
Yeah, and if your mind wanders, so what? Just come back. There's no need to judge that your mind's wandered off. We know what the goal is. We know that we want to focus on the Christ. We know that that's what we want. And so when, as you said, Andy, when that purpose is completely and utterly out front, the ego mind's going to do what it wants to do. It's going to try all of its tricks to dispel that. So there's our light, and it can play its games, but we don't have to buy into that game. My mind wandered off. So what?
So what?
So what? Big deal. I come back. That was like the other question, like, oh, thank you. It's not about behaviour. And it just reminded me of the movie that we watched yesterday. We watched the Awake movie, which is about Paramahansa Yogananda. And this guy came up to Yogananda and he said, oh, I'd love to study with you, but I don't want to stay as part of the monastery. And he said, look, I need to be honest with you, I'm not actually a great character. So Yogananda turns around to him and says, do you drink alcohol? He says, yes. He said, you can carry on. He said, oh, wow. He said, do you smoke? Yes, I smoke. He said, you can carry on. He says, do you have promiscuous sex? He said, yes, yeah, I do. He said, you may carry on. And he said, so you mean I can act out all these things, go back down to wherever I live and I can act out all these things? He said, yeah, absolutely. He said, but there's only one thing. He said, I can't guarantee that through you doing this practice that you're going to end up wanting to continue on with this. And he's like, wow. So it's like, it's never about changing the behavior. It's never about changing anything. It's never about changing anything about you. That's the whole point. You can't change anything. It was like a friend of mine, we were talking, and she said to me, she said, so I see myself as having ADHD and I'm pretty hectic. So is it that I'm supposed to integrate all of this into me? And I was like, integrate what into what? I mean, like, to even think that there is ADHD is like, well, I'm like, I don't even know. I know seemingly what it is in the world, but it's like, well, what is that? That's just a label of behaviour that you've put on yourself. And my response is, well, you just allow Jesus to use everything. That's all I would do. Okay, I seemingly have a lot of energy. That's as what I perceive myself. I don't even know whether that's true. How can you even know that is true about yourself? Because you see something in form. So therefore, and someone's labelled you and therefore you've taken it on. But how do we know that's true? So we can just say, well, actually, I don't know. So I'm just going to continuously hand this over and I'm just going to have my focus on God. And that's the only thing that I can do. And what will happen in that will happen. But I don't have to judge it. And I think we've all seen that in our lives. When you're focused on trying to change something, it's virtually impossible. And then all of a sudden, a year up the line, you go, oh my God, I'm not doing that any longer. It seemingly miraculously just disappears within the desire for something else, to say, okay, I want to let this go. And when you're truly willing to let it go, it will be let go of.
Yeah. And just being very authentic, I found. It's like not judging anything, like just like what you were saying, not judging the behavior, not judging the form. Because I always really loved Snickers. You know, I loved Snickers. And some kind of judgment came in recently, like last few months or something. It's like, it's like almost like this, that's not, I don't know, some kind of association, like don't eat that, that's not good, that's not spiritual, whatever the thoughts are. It's like all these like labels and thoughts. And and with all the foods that I liked, actually, like it came up with all the foods that I like. It's like, no, how are you gonna go through this belief system in lack? How are you gonna get rid of the ego if you're enjoying foods? You know, that's not helping with the lack system, with the ego. And I'm like, what is this? This is actually all judgment. Like, it's like it's like, it's not being authentic. You know, it's like putting everything in one box, saying this is bad and this is good. It's like we're back to labeling the world again and splitting everything apart. And that's the complete opposite of dream of the dream. It's like dream of the dream is like seeing everything the same. It's like the sameness. Like, make this year different by making it all the same. And by labeling things, like labeling food, this food is good, this food is bad. It's like, that's judgment. That's judgment. It's like we need to release judgment to make things all the same. How do we see that this is a dream if we're constantly judging things as good and bad? Snickers, good, bad, whatever. It's like they're all just judgments. So yesterday I went out and Peter and I, we were in Walmart and we're just standing there talking and we're like, okay, what feels really, like, do we want to look at microwaves? Does that feel inspiring? Like, that's the only reason we're going to do it, if it feels inspiring. And we're like, no, actually it doesn't. And then we look to my right, and then there's Snicker boxes all right there. And I'm like, let's have a Snickers, you know? So we got a Snickers and we got a Coke, and we're like, we're not gonna judge it, you know? It's like, what feels inspiring? Don't put boxes on what feels inspiring. It's like we're thinking out of the box now. Like it's time to step outside of the box. So it's like, yeah, let's do live videos where we can see people's comments. Let's not judge the food we eat. I love avocados on my tacos. I love eating a lot of food. I don't have to eat tiny bits of food because, no, if I eat a lot, I'll get fat. That's not spiritual, whatever. It's like all the judgments. Who said eating a lot is more spiritual or less spiritual than eating a little bit? Like, okay, maybe I need to not eat anything, go on a fast. That's more spiritual. No. Is it inspiring? Yes, no, whatever. That's the real question. Like, is it inspiring? The purpose for what you do things is everything. It's not the right or wrong. There's never going to be a right or wrong. It's always going to be purpose is the only choice. The purpose of inspiration, that's it. It's like just following that. So maybe we check out some more.
Yeah, sure.
Here's Stephanie. Hi, Ken and Andy. Love you.
Hi,
Love you,
Stephanie.
Stephanie is just so beautiful. She came and she stayed with us for, I think, 4 weeks here in Mexico. And she was here with us during our last retreat. And then she came to live with us at this house. And she was just really loving the Instagram. I think that was like completely like brand new for her, Instagram. And it was like so expensive for her because I don't think she ever really used social media or Instagram or like even her phone with the camera, like taking pictures. It's like that just came in for her, and then all of a sudden she felt like this inspiration, like, oh wow. And then she started taking pictures, putting them on Instagram, and then we're all like, wow, it feels so inspiring, like so fresh and alive and beautiful. Yeah. And then she was like shocked by the comments that we were even giving her. So that was like out of the box for her. And then her stay was over. She went back, and I see that you're still putting up photos on Instagram, and it just feels so beautiful and inspiring. So it's like we have to think out of the box. We don't know what's gonna inspire us. And we love having people, you know, come down here to Mexico. We're opening up La Casa now, and we love people coming for the retreats. And yeah, like even right now we're open for like devotional stays, just like how Stephanie came for a 4-week stay. I think we're having like 2-week or 4-week stays for the Spanish retreat coming up, and just to come and just be with us and just be in that inspiration with the retreat and just stay here in Mexico. And yeah, Stephanie is just a beautiful example of that.
There's a big question over there. Did we answer that one? Or? No.
Okay, so we have a question. I think maybe from the group, it's just saying unknown for everyone's name, but the question is, on the day, I try to set the purpose on my mind when I do the world things, but my mind is trying to get explanations, and I'm working to identify that and relax and return to the purpose. Explanations are another way of judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's why I love the rules for decision in the morning, of just having that in my mind is what do I really want? What do I really want? And for me, I know I shared this on another live, but yeah, I don't feel so much inspiration by form any longer, and I've judged myself for it. I judged myself for a long time, thinking I should be more interested in the form. But of course, that was a judgment, and really, what I'm interested in and what I love is I love forgiveness. I love looking at these judgments. I love that. That's the practical thing. What am I believing? That's what I'm really, really inspired about. And so that's really what my days are all about. And in that, when I set up my day, like this morning was relinquishment of judgments. It was just great. Let's see all the judgments in my mind. It doesn't have to be some sort of trawling through and some traumatic events. It just, okay, let's just look at what I actually believe and let it all go. What more can be more inspiring than that? Wow, there's a lot coming through.
Yeah, a lot of comments. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions on your heart. Like, what's burning on your heart? What do you really feel stressed about, like worried about? Just pour it out. No limits. Whatever is on your heart, feel free to ask here. Yeah.
I think my friend Carrie's come on. Hi,
Carrie.
Carrie. Love you too. This is really good. We can see everything that's going on. So we've got Facebook coming up with messages and we've got YouTube coming up all at the same time. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
is there some new? There's someone. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was just my prayer the other day. Actually, I had this really beautiful experience. I watched the Awake movie, and I just sat there after the movie. I just couldn't move, and I just allowed myself just to sink in, and there were just no thoughts going on, and it was just so beautiful. I'm just sitting there in this beautiful experience, and then I went to bed, and then the next day when I woke up, there was just this love was just surrounding me, and the only words that I could say was thank you. That was it, and that is the only prayer, is just to be thankful that everything that's being given. So thank you.
Thank you. Listen for vision.
And I was just thinking, you were talking about people staying down here because at La Casa de Milagros it's been opened up.
Yeah, we actually recently, we have this center, La Casa de Milagros. It's a retreat center, but we're actually opening up for people to come down here and live nearby, live close with us. So it's going to be it's like co-living, it's co-living. It's going to be a community down there, and then we're living about like 15 minutes away, but we'll come down there and talk with you guys and do movie gatherings and sessions and just interact. And yeah, we completely have opened that up now for anyone to just send in an application. So yeah, that's La Casa here in Chapala, Mexico. It's beautiful, beautiful weather and right by the lake. And yeah, that's another really expansive thing we're doing right now. It's like this co-living with La Casa de Milagros. And then we have this online retreat that we've been talking about, Dreamer the Dream. And that's actually next week. It's, no, not even next week, this week. It's this Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday to this Sunday, and David Hoffmeister is going to be there, Francis Sue is going to be there, we might be there, Ken and I, and yeah, it just feels really inspiring, this theme of Dreamer the Dream. And I think the link is in the title and the description, and yeah, it just feels like a really inspiring theme right now. It's just so like juicy, like there's just so much going on with it, and we just really enjoyed doing this live with you guys and the interactions. And
yeah,
just seeing all the comments. And
yeah.
Emojis. Okay, we have another
There's another question.
comment or question. Continue with the question before. Is a way to identify that the world tasks that I am doing, that they are accomplishing the purpose? Because, for example, when I set, this is in the way. When I set up the purpose in the mind, it seems that more tasks, work appear. And I feel like part of that is just really getting even clear on what the purpose is. You know, it's like, because the ego has a purpose, and so does the spirit, and basically it's really just getting clear on the purpose. Like the ego's purpose is pride, pleasure, and attack, and the Holy Spirit's purpose is for inspiration. But sometimes we don't really actually know what that is. So I feel like for me, it's like getting back to the desire. It's like what am I like really desiring right now? Like is it a desire for, it's like just really getting in touch with that desire in my heart. Like what's my passion? And like Ken said, it's not really like specifically like worldly forms. It's more of like, it's like the light in your mind. Like what's the inspiration? It's like Jesus in your mind, like the Spirit in your mind. Like what's really the inspiration that lights you up, that you really feel like this is your joy, like this is your heart, like it feels like it's not coming from something in the world. It's like just really feeling that out. And then for me, like that desire is the purpose. And then when I really just set that in my mind, then it's almost like the worldly task kind of just happen. You know, it all just starts to just happen when I really focus strongly on that purpose in my mind. But otherwise it can feel like I'm doing a lot of things and I don't really know what I want, and it feels like strenuous, and it feels like work. You know, it's like work tasks. But for me, it's really just holding that purpose strongly in my mind, that inspiration, and then it's like things just happen. It's like, it's like whatever needs to get done will just happen through the inspiration, through the collaboration. It just gets done, and it's not work at all. But it doesn't even, at that point, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. But it's also very practical. Like, you know, it's not like the world says, if you feel inspired to play the violin, you're gonna be out on the streets homeless. And it's like, you know, that's what our parents always tell us, but it's like, that's not it. It's like you have to follow your inspiration and just trust that Jesus is gonna take care of you from there. It's like the money will come in, everything will come in as long as you're following that inspiration. Whatever you need, even if you don't need money, whatever you need will be provided.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, that word work, because it's like when I heard that, I thought, well, the only work I've got is forgiveness. That's my only job is to forgive. And again, it comes back to the only job I have is to let go of the judgments that I believe about the work that seems to be appearing in front of me, and that's where the beauty lies. Not in what we do, because we have tasks, and I know that for myself. I had this for so long. I thought, why do I have to do things in life that I don't want to do? I don't want to sweep up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. That doesn't suit me. But then I realised that isn't just the judgments, and what's coming to me, what's appearing to me, seemingly is for me, and it's just purely to look at the judgments that I have around that, and I can even choose to be happy, or I can choose to be sad. And so it's always the choice in what's coming my way. So I can choose to sweep the pathway and see it as a task and just get it done. And then I'm going to get back to my real purpose. But in actual fact, the sweeping was your real purpose. It was a beautiful purpose to really enjoy every single moment. Everything we're doing is we want to give to it. Even it's like, you know, oh, I don't really want to talk to this person. I don't get on. Okay, well there's the judgments. I want to see past all of that. I really want to see this brother as myself. I want to see this task as myself. I want everything to merge in this oneness. And that's what really the Course in Miracles is pointing us to, is absolute oneness, abstract reality. And everything that we do is to accomplish that. So every single task, can you imagine if you went into every single task and said, this is for my oneness. That's what it is. And then the next task appears, and that happens here. We're not sitting here meditating for 15 hours a day. You know, I get up, eat a little bit of rice from a bowl, and then I go back to meditation. I mean, seemingly, I've got tons of things going on, and I seemingly go from one thing to another. But you can hear that. I'm going from one thing to another, and it's just work. I mean, if you see it like that, oh God, I just want to kill myself. So, but the purpose is, I want to see the oneness. That's all I'm here to see. I'm here to see with Christ's vision. I can't do that. That will dawn upon my mind, and that can dawn upon my mind at any moment. I can't judge when the best times are. And that's like the judgment, isn't it? It's like, well, I feel really peaceful when I'm meditating, but when I have to go to work, I've got to put up with all of these annoying people, all these annoying things that are happening. But don't worry, because when I get home from work, I'm going to be able to sit there, I can read my course book, I can go to my course group, I can go and do all the nice things that I want to do, that I feel are helpful for my journey. But there's all these things that aren't helpful for my journey. And it's like, no, they're all helpful for your journey. So it's including absolutely everything. So your practice is everything. It's not what you're doing. It's what you are and what you're bringing to the situation. It's, again, comes back to that purpose. Because it's like really what we're doing here. It's like most of the time I think it's not actually interested. It's not interested, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. That's the whole point. It does not matter. That's the judgment on top of it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Do you want to be with God or not? I mean, that's it. That's the only question you've got to ask yourself. That's why I always love that quote of Krishnamurti. You know, what's the difference between me and you? I don't mind what happens. I'm not judging the form. I have no judgment on any of this any longer. I'm not imprisoned by it. It's just whatever's happening. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Wow, this has been a privilege, hasn't it? This has
Yeah.
been so much fun.
Yeah.
We haven't done this before. I really like this sort of interacting.
This is the first time.
Oh, hold on. There's another question.
Oh, wow.
It's Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg. Greg Pesameo. I live in a conscious community home here. 9 of us.
Nice.
One central couple has chosen to leave right now. It's created a vacuum, and with that, chaos. Different purposes are becoming apparent between different members. I'm suddenly questioning my time here, even though logically there are so many benefits to live in this beautiful setting here. I've been happily practicing forgiveness with everyone, which feels great and clears cobwebs. Yet now I find myself wondering if it's time to leave. Is this running away from a problem? As I type, you're talking about the co-living down south. I may be resolving my own conundrum. The essence of my problem here is that after 2 years of all living together, I still don't see a unified purpose. People just do their own thing, more or less. Signed, thirsty and hungry for more meaning and depth. Wow, beautiful, Greg. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? I lived in a house, and we were all seemingly practicing A Course in Miracles, but we all had different ideas, and we wanted to invite different teachers and different things. And so what we realized is we thought just by having the purpose of A Course in Miracles that we were all sort of on the same page. And then as we came together, it's like, well, I don't want that person to come. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. And then it was like, oh my God, yeah, actually, we actually never spoke about this real true purpose of what we wanted. And so this split began to occur. And it's the same again. It's like what falls away needs to fall away, and what will stay will stay. So I never see it as a running away from anything. It's just if it's still working at the moment for the forgiveness and for the healing, because it's only your mind. There is no community. You know, it's like the same as here. That's what we've been dispelling. Like, what community? You know, if you think there's something going on in form as a community, then you're pretty lost. It's just your mind. And of course, the symbols can be helpful to help the mind. But as you said, is when there's not that true purpose, I think that's what we see, is when there's not that true purpose and there's split desires, then it's not going to be so cohesive to the deepening of yourself. And I understand that, Greg, because that's why I came to the community for myself, because I felt like I have to be around others that are on this same page, that we're doing this forgiveness together. There's none of this running away. We can't run away from one another. It starts to bubble up, and here we are. We're in it. We're letting go of the judgments together. And I believe, that's just my opinion, it's not the gospel, but I believe that this is best for me, to be able to have that single purpose with others that are solely in this for the Great Awakening. And so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, just another thing. It's really important to bring it back to your mind, because I've seen, you know, it's like you spot it, you got it.
Exactly.
So even here in this community, sometimes I look around and I'm like, do they really want to be here?
Yeah.
You know, like, what's their purpose? Why do they say that? You know, like, and it's like really bringing it back to your mind. Like, actually, if you spot it, you got it. You know, it's like the world is just a reflection of your mind. So whatever you see in your brother is what's in your own mind. Like, oh, they have a different purpose than me. Or, oh, I want to leave because they don't have the same shared purpose as me. But really, it's like, what's my purpose? And I've noticed for me, like when I hold that purpose so strongly, everyone outside of me reflects that same purpose. It's like it's all in your mind. Really, it is. It's like we cannot play this victim game that other people outside of me have different purposes than me. It's like, no, that's the ego's game. It's trying to trick you that there's people outside of you. Yeah, that's not the dream of the dream. You know, it's like, that's not the dream of the dream. It's like the dream of the dream is like, I am the observer and I have a shared purpose with my mind, and those are the reflections I'm getting. But it's like, yeah, it's almost like if you have that purpose strongly in your mind, and that will move you. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, I just seen it's not about the form. It's not about moving communities or going somewhere else. It's really about what's my purpose in my mind. And I've seen it here with this community, like pointing the finger, what's their purpose? Does he want to leave? Does he want to leave? You know, it's like you spot it, you got it. So you have to bring it back to your mind. Like, what's in my mind that's allowing me to see people outside of me that have different purposes and different interests than me? Like, what's my desire? So that's really important. Just always bring it back to your mind. That's the dreamer, the dream to me.
Yeah, it's the ego that makes everything complex, exactly.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you,
Yeah,
brother.
thank you so much.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, so beautiful.
All these beautiful comments.
I am enjoying.
That's it.
God is the hero.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this too. It's like just sitting in the living room, conversations with Ken, and just sitting here at conversations with God. It's like, yeah, just sitting here with you guys.
Well, we just get to let up whatever's in our minds. As that was the last question, it's great that we have this platform and we can just say, hey, this is what I'm believing and I want to let go of that. And we do that together wherever we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. And do you have anything else?
Oh, I just feel grateful.
Yeah,
I just feel very grateful.
Much. That was beautiful. And we'd love to see you on this online retreat this Friday. If you feel inspired by that, you know, this theme, Dreamer the Dream, and we have the link here. And yeah, just love to do more of these lives, just conversational, just be with you guys and just have this conversation together and with you guys and putting the comments on the screen. And yeah, it's really beautiful.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Many blessings, one and all.
Yeah. And we'll do a lot more of these, so we'll see you.